Stop. Just for a moment, take a breath, not for survival, but for returning. When was the last time you truly thought about yourself? Not your job, not your responsibilities, not who you're supposed to be, just you. We live in a world that moves faster than our breath, a world where being busy is praised and stillness is mistaken for weakness. Each day, you're asked to give more time, more effort, more of yourself. And so, without realizing it, you begin to disappear. Like mist under the morning sun, quietly, slowly, completely. You keep running toward expectations, deadlines, obligations, until one day you no longer recognize the person in the mirror. You feel tired, but not just physically. It's the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix, the kind that comes from living too long for everything and everyone but yourself. So let me ask you, gently, how much longer will you postpone your own life? How many more mornings will you wake up and hand over your peace to noise if you don't make yourself a priority? Who will? This is not about being selfish. It's about remembering. You were not born to be an accessory in your own story. You were born whole, precious, sacred, and somewhere within you that knowing still exists. This video is an invitation to pause, to listen, and to return to the only place where peace is ever truly found, within. So, will you stay with me for a while? Let us begin. Gabriel was the kind of man people relied on. At work, he was always early, always prepared, always willing to stay a little longer. When others needed help, they called him. When deadlines piled up, he stayed behind. Gabriel, can you take care of this for me? And always, of course. He never made a fuss, never asked for anything in return. His boss admired him. His co-workers called him the dependable one. But no one really noticed him, not truly. He had become like a chair in the corner of a room, useful, always there, but invisible. His personal life mirrored the same script. When his parents called, he answered, no matter how tired he was. When friends needed a favor, he rearranged his plans. He said yes so many times he forgot what his own no sounded like. Years passed, not one, not two, but more than 10. And then his body spoke, not with words but with pain, a tightness in the chest, a breath that didn't quite feel complete. He brushed it off. It's just stress. But the signals grew louder until one afternoon his vision blurred and the world turned dark. He woke up in a hospital bed. The doctor's words were blunt. If you continue like this, your body will collapse before your spirit ever has a chance to speak. That night, he sat in silence for the first time in years. No noise, no one else to take care of. Just the quiet hum of the room and the question he had avoided for so long. What if I stopped being available to everyone else and finally became available to myself? Scrolling mindlessly through his phone, a simple quote appeared. One that would begin to shift everything. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Marcus Aurelius. He read it again, slower, softer. For the first time he realized the life he was living was not imposed. It was allowed, shaped not by force but by unconscious choice. His value, he had believed, came only from what he could give others, but never from who he was, standing quietly with no task to do. From that moment, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, but it was real. He began saying no. The first time his voice trembled, but it stood. He stopped replying to messages at night. He chose silence over obligation. Some called him distant. A few said he had changed. They were right. He had. He had finally returned to himself. Now gently ask yourself, have you ever said yes while your heart was whispering no? Are you trading your inner peace for someone else's approval? Let these questions sit with you. Don't rush the answers. We'll continue when you're ready. Step 1. Reclaiming the stolen mind. Your mind is like a quiet lake. When undisturbed, it reflects everything clearly. Your desires, your fears, your direction. But what happens when that lake is constantly stirred by noise? When every ripple is caused not by your own movement, but by the world tugging at your attention? That's what modern life does to us. Each morning before our breath even settles, Our hands reach instinctively for a phone, a screen, a stream of information, a flood of distractions that don't nourish us, but occupy us. News headlines, notifications, and short videos, endless swiping. Before the day even begins, the surface of the lake is already stormed over. You tell yourself, I'm just catching up. But what are you catching up to? And what are you falling behind on within yourself? The truth is simple, but it's not easy to face. You're not in control of your mind. You've handed the steering wheel to algorithms, to voices you don't know, to opinions you didn't ask for. And over time, your own voice, the voice of intuition, of wisdom, fades into the background. Epictetus once said, if someone tried to hand over your body to a stranger, you'd be outraged. But you hand over your mind to anyone who passes by. And we do, every single day. But here's the beauty. What was once given away can also be taken back. How? Not by force, not by deleting all technology or renouncing the world, but by pausing consciously, gently. Start with one small practice, 10 minutes of silence in the morning, before the noise begins, before the messages pour in, before the day asks anything of you. Sit. No phone, no to-do list, just you, your breath, and the stillness of early light. In those 10 minutes, you reclaim something sacred. You remember that your mind is not a battlefield. It is a garden, and you are its only true caretaker. Another practice. Before you open any app, ask yourself, does this nourish me or distract me? That question alone creates space. It interrupts the automatic pattern. It puts you back in the center. And when you start asking that question, not only to your phone, but to your conversations, your habits, your goals, you begin to see the world differently, not as a place that pulls you in 1,000 directions, but as a place where you can choose deliberately where to place your attention. Attention is life force. What you focus on grows. So if your focus is scattered, your life will feel scattered. But if your focus returns inward, towards stillness, intention, and clarity, then peace becomes not a distant dream, but your natural state. Think about the lake again. What if, for just 1 hour a day, it could be still? What would it reflect? What parts of you would you finally see? Here are 2 small invitations for tomorrow. Instead of reaching for your phone, reach for a breath, just one. Deep, slow, present. Leave a comment below and share. What will you give 10 minutes to tomorrow, just for yourself? You don't need to meditate like a monk. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to begin. Begin by remembering that your mind is your home, and you are its keeper. Shall we continue? The next step awaits when you're ready. Step 2. Guarding time for what matters. Time is like water. If you don't hold it with care, it slips quietly between your fingers. A moment here, a moment there, until the day is gone. And when you look back, all you're left with is the question, where did it all go? We often say, I don't have time. But is that true, or is it that we give our time away so freely to things that do not feed us, to people who drain us, to thoughts that don't belong to us? Let me offer you a different way of seeing time. Imagine that every morning someone hands you a bowl of fresh, clear water. This bowl holds your energy, your attention, your presence. You can pour it wherever you wish, but once it's empty, it's empty. Now the question becomes, what will you water today? A garden of purpose or weeds of distraction? The answer lies in how you begin and end each day. Before you sleep tonight, write down 3 small things you want to do tomorrow, just for yourself, not for your boss, not for your family, not for your image, for you. They don't need to be big. 1 page read from a book, a 15-minute walk, a quiet tea in the morning without your phone. These are not tasks, they are acts of devotion. Gentle reminders that your life matters. And when tomorrow arrives, you don't need to be perfect. Just begin. Use the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself, I'll do this for 5 minutes. If I still want to stop after that, I can. And you'll find, most of the time, you won't stop. Because starting is often the hardest part. Once you move, even a little momentum will carry you forward. Remember, discipline is not about pressure. It's about alignment. You're not pushing yourself, You're returning to yourself. Your time is sacred. Your attention is a prayer. Where you place it becomes your life. Here's your invitation today. Write down 3 simple things you will do tomorrow, for you and only you. In the comments, share 1 small step you will take today to move closer to your center. Time is not something to manage. It is something to honor. So begin with presence, end with peace, and in between, let each hour become a stepping stone, leading you home. Are you ready to take the next step? Let's walk forward together. Step 3. Silence and action. In a quiet room lit only by the soft light of dawn, an artist painted. He didn't post about his process. He didn't tell friends about his plans. He didn't declare that something important was coming. He just painted, stroke by stroke, day after day. No spotlight, no applause, just discipline, devotion, and silence. The world outside rushed, spoke loudly, demanded attention. But in his world, stillness ruled. He had no need to announce his progress because he knew real work speaks for itself. We live in a time where it feels natural to announce everything. I'm starting a new habit. I'm going to change my life. This time I'll really do it. And yet, those declarations often lose their weight. Why? Because when we speak too soon, our minds mistake words for action. We feel rewarded just by saying it. And so motivation fades before we even begin. But when you act in silence, you don't need validation. You don't need permission. You move not to impress others, but to honor yourself. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In Buddhism, there is a similar truth. The lotus does not speak of its fragrance. It simply blooms. So ask yourself gently, do I want recognition or transformation? Because they rarely walk hand in hand. There is a deep power in quiet progress. When no one sees you, yet you keep showing up. When no one claps, but you keep returning to your practice. That kind of effort builds inner strength, a resilience that doesn't need applause to keep going. It is the work done in shadows that creates light. So the next time you feel the urge to tell the world what you're about to do, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, can I do the thing first? And let the results speak for me later. Don't tell, create. Let your actions rise like mountains, quiet, firm, and undeniable. The next time you want to announce something, try keeping it to yourself until it becomes real. You don't owe the world your plans, but you do owe yourself your follow-through. Let your path unfold in silence. Let your actions carry the sound. The journey continues. Whenever you are ready. Step 4, Mr. Choosing who you walk with. There is an old saying, if you walk with a mountain climber, you will learn how to place your feet with care. Every step they take is steady, measured, tested against the edge of the stone, not because they never fall, but because they've fallen before and learned how to rise. The people you surround yourself with are not just companions on the journey. They are the terrain beneath your feet. They shape how you move, how you see yourself, how you dream, how you respond to life's cliffs and storms. Spend enough time with people who complain, and you will start to see problems everywhere. Spend time with those who question, who challenge, who reflect quietly, and your inner world begins to shift. You don't need a crowd to grow, you need clarity. So today, ask yourself not who is around me, but who is truly walking with me. Who lifts you up without even speaking? Who leaves you feeling more focused, more spacious, more seen? These are the people whose presence is like clean air. And if you can't find them nearby, begin where many great seekers have begun, in stillness, in solitude, in pages, in practice. You can start by adjusting your environment, not just physically, but digitally. Unfollow what brings chaos. Mute the noise. Curate your inputs as carefully as you would choose a guide for a journey through the mountains or winds. Then turn toward those who plant seeds of stillness and strength. Maybe it's a writer, a monk, a voice that resonates. Let their wisdom echo within your own. Gentle prompts to reflect on today. Follow 3 voices, online or offline, that help you become a clearer version of yourself. Who is someone that leaves you feeling lighter, calmer, or more focused every time you connect? Spend more time near that energy. In the end, your path is yours alone. But who walks beside you will either help you rise or pull you into places you have outgrown. So walk wisely. Walk with those who remind you the summit is not a place, it is a state of mind. Let's continue the journey. The next step awaits your readiness. Step 5. Mental minimalism. Imagine your mind as a room. At its best, it's open, clean, quiet, a space where ideas can rest, where clarity can breathe, where you can sit in peace with your own thoughts and actually hear them. But now picture that same room cluttered. Stacks of paper on the floor, shelves filled with half-read books, old reminders scribbled on post-it notes that no longer matter, clothes you haven't worn in years, cups left behind from conversations long over. It's hard to move, hard to focus, hard to breathe. This, my friend, is how most of our minds have become, not because we are careless, but because we have never been taught to clean the mind, only to fill it. Every day, we absorb noise we never asked for. News that doesn't concern us, debates that don't need us, worries that don't even belong to us. And we wonder why we feel tired. But there's a quiet truth. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know what's true for you. To begin clearing your inner space, use these 3 questions when you encounter any new input, whether it's a news story, a message, or even a thought. Is this relevant to my life? Can I do something about it? Does this truly matter to me? If the answer is no to all 3, let it go. Delete the tab, close the app, release the thought, because space is sacred, and without space, nothing meaningful can grow. This is not avoidance, it is discernment. You're not turning away from the world, you are turning towards your peace. And in that space, wisdom has room to rise. Try turning off all notifications for just one day. Observe what changes, not in the world, but in your body. If you could only hold 3 thoughts in your mind today, which would you choose to keep? The minimalist doesn't live with less to suffer. They live with less to feel more. So ask yourself, what is crowding your inner room? Then begin to clear, gently, gradually, with love. Let your mind become the quiet temple it was meant to be. Shall we take another step forward together? Step 6. Entering the uncomfortable. No tree grows on bare stone. To rise toward light, it must first root into darkness, into the cold, the unseen, the uncertain. Without that anchoring, it cannot stand. Without pressure, it cannot grow, and so it is with us. Growth does not begin where we are safe. It begins where we tremble slightly, where the step is unfamiliar, where the voice inside says, maybe I can't. And yet, you step anyway. But we are taught to avoid discomfort. We are told it's dangerous, that tension is a warning, that unease means something is wrong. But let me offer you another image. Discomfort is not a red light. It's a compass. It points toward what you have not yet claimed in yourself. When you feel resistance, you are near something sacred, and it doesn't need to be dramatic. You don't have to walk through fire to grow. Just do something slightly harder than usual every day. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Finish your shower with cold water. Say no with love instead of yes with resentment. Sit still when everything inside wants to run. These are not grand acts, but they are acts of self-respect. Each small push into discomfort reshapes you, strengthens you, teaches your mind, I can stay, I can hold this, I don't have to run. Like the tree, your strength comes from the roots you plant in effort. And the truth is, most people are not lacking motivation. They're avoiding the friction of growth. They want transformation without the burn, but a seed cannot become a tree without cracking open. Discomfort is the crack, and inside it, life waits to emerge. What uncomfortable thing have you done recently, and what did it teach you? Are you willing to take one small step today into the unfamiliar? You don't have to leap, just lean forward, just press one toe into the unknown, and hold. That's where transformation begins, not in noise or praise, but in quiet courage, the kind of courage that chooses effort over ease, clarity over comfort, becoming over staying the same. So today, ask yourself, what small discomfort am I ready to welcome? Not to punish myself, but to free myself. Because every time you face what you fear, the fear loses its power, and you remember who you are beneath it all. Still with me? The next step will lead us even deeper. Step 7. You don't have to react to everything. There was once an old man known in his village for his peace. No matter what happened, shouting, chaos, criticism, he remained calm, like a stone at the bottom of a river. One day, a young man approached him, filled with anger. He insulted him, mocked him, trying to provoke a reaction. But the old man simply smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, who does it belong to?" The young man paused, confused. "To the one who offered it." The old man nodded. "Exactly. So it is with anger, with blame, with negativity. If you don't accept it, it remains with the one who brought it. We forget this. We think we must answer every insult, respond to every disagreement, correct every misunderstanding. But in truth, many battles are invitations, not requirements. Your peace is not something to defend. It's something to return to. And in every moment, you have that choice. Before you react, pause. Take just 30 seconds. Breathe in, breathe out. No fixing, no defending, just witnessing. You'll find that most reactions don't come from truth. They come from wounded reflex. And if the moment still pulls at you, ask yourself this: will this matter in 5 years? If not, let it go like wind through trees. Checklist for today. Instead of reacting, how many times will you choose to breathe today? Let the moment pass. Let peace remain. You are not here to carry every burden handed to you. You are here to walk lightly, to keep your heart clear, to choose response over reaction, silence over shouting, freedom over friction. Let's take another quiet step forward. Step 8, learning to be alone. Solitude is a mountain. From below, it can seem cold, empty, intimidating. But when you climb step by step, you begin to see it's not loneliness that waits at the top. It's clarity. In today's world, being alone is almost feared. We fill every gap with sound, music in our ears, messages on our screens. Even silence is interrupted by scrolling. But silence isn't empty. It's where your real self waits. When was the last time you sat with yourself, not to fix, not to distract, but simply to be? There's no judgment in avoiding solitude. It's understandable, because when we sit in stillness, everything we've ignored begins to rise. Old emotions, unanswered questions, the deeper voice within. But these things don't appear to hurt you. They appear to be healed. Try this. Once a week, give yourself 1 hour. No phone, no music, no talking. Just you, perhaps in nature or a quiet room, or walking slowly without a destination. In that hour, listen, not with your ears, but with your presence. You might feel restless. Good. That means the stillness is working. The practice isn't to feel peaceful, it's to become familiar with yourself. Have a meal without distractions. Just you, the food, and your breath. See what returns to you in the silence. Remember, if you cannot enjoy your own company, you will always be dependent on noise, on others, on approval. But when you learn to stand on the mountain of solitude, you don't become cold. You become free. Let's walk into this freedom together, 1 quiet hour at a time. Step 9, train the mind like a muscle. Your mind is like a muscle. If you don't train it gently, consistently, it weakens. It forgets how to stay focused. It drifts into distraction. It reacts instead of responding. We often think the mind should work for us automatically, that clarity, patience, and focus should be natural. But like the body, the mind needs practice, repetition, stillness, strength built over time. Every day, the world pulls your attention in 1,000 directions. It's not because you're weak, it's because your attention is untrained. And what is untrained is unsteady. But the solution isn't complicated, it's simple, gentle, and powerful. Each morning, write down 2 things. 1 thing you're grateful for, 1 thing you will focus on today. Gratitude strengthens your presence. It roots you in enoughness. Focus gives your day a center, so you don't drift with every wave that passes. You don't need a perfect journal. You don't need a special app. Just a few lines, a quiet moment, a commitment to yourself. In that act, you're training your attention. Teaching your mind, this is where we begin. And the more you return to that practice, the stronger your inner discipline becomes. Not through pressure, but through quiet repetition. Discipline is not control, it is devotion. What will you write for yourself tomorrow morning? One gratitude, one focus, a single sentence to anchor your day. The mind, when trained, becomes your ally. When untrained, it becomes your greatest distraction. So train it, not with force, but with love. The next step will invite you into action. Let's keep walking. Step 10, Ishamayas 10, just begin. Now, the journey of 1,000 miles does not begin with thinking about the path. It begins with a single step. We wait. So often we wait. For clarity, for motivation, for the perfect conditions, for a sign. But what if the sign you've been waiting for is this moment? Life does not require you to be fully ready. It requires you to be willing. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a day when everything aligns just right. Start anyway. Start even if your hands tremble. Even if the voice in your head says you're not enough. Even if all you can manage today is one quiet action toward your deeper self. You don't need to leap. You just need to lean forward. That small movement, the first brush stroke, the first breath, the first word written, is enough to change your course. Because once you move, momentum follows. And what was impossible begins to unfold. Don't wait until your fear is gone. Act with fear, with uncertainty, with the trembling joy of trying. You don't owe the world perfection, but you do owe yourself the truth of your effort. What is one simple action you will take today for yourself, for your peace, for your becoming? No more delays. You've listened, you've breathed, you've remembered. Now it's time. Take the step. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. The final piece, our closing reflection, awaits. Shall we finish together? Remember the man in the rain? The one who ran, hoping to escape the storm? He hasn't vanished. He's still here. But now, he's no longer running. He stands still, face tilted toward the sky, palms open, breathing deeply. The rain hasn't stopped. The world is still loud. But inside him, there is a different weather now. Stillness. He no longer chases silence. He becomes it. And that, my friend, is the shift we've walked toward together. Not to change the world around us, but to return to the one within. A quieter place, a steadier ground. A presence that no longer reacts, but listens. If you've stayed with me until now, you've already begun. Not in theory, but in step, in breath, in choice. If you're still here, drop a 111 in the comments. A quiet way to say, I made it. I'm here. And if this journey has spoken to you, subscribe. Not for more noise, but for reminders, for more quiet paths that lead you home. Until next time, walk slow, breathe deep, and trust that every step inward is already enough.